Hello YouTube fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel where I rant and I review. I'm your host, Uncle Tim fam. What's going on with all the empty shelves? Empty pegs? You know, dude, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I go into these stores, man, and I'm not finding anything. I'm like, to be honest, man, I find little pieces, here and there, but not like it used to be. And I understand, it's not a holiday right now as far as like Easter or Christmas, but you know what? The shelves supposed to be stocked, right? Why are there empty pegs and empty shelves, bro? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, damn, what's really going on? Have the tariffs hit? Have we somehow stopped getting freight from overseas? What is really going on? All of that stuff supposedly was squashed a little bit. But you know what? I'm starting to notice that, man, if you're not just into more than one toy line, you might be screwed, man, because this is how these companies do it, man. It's just like shit don't make no sense. So, like I said, I go to Target and Walmart, man. I see stuff that I have seen on the shelves for damn near since the pandemic sometimes in certain stores, man. It don't move. If you're looking for old figures from back in the day, man, some of these Chicago stores just may have it. It's just crazy how that works, man. I thought, with the prices going up in certain places, i.e. Target, Walmart, GameStop, Ross, and DD's, everybody done raised their prices. But nobody raised our checks. The wages that we're paid, we didn't get an increase. And I thought that would just be an awesome way to really do this. You create stuff. You create a way that makes it easier for people to buy. Dude, I'm just sitting here thinking, it's okay. It's not all doom and gloom. There's stuff out there. You just gotta look. And you may find pieces. You may find pieces that you like. You may find pieces that you don't like. My whole thing to you is take your time. Enjoy what it is that you're doing. Enjoy how to be without that item. Sometimes some of this stuff, man, you're not going to find it. Some days it's just like a needle in a haystack. But guess what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all of that. I'm okay with how the situation is playing itself out. I'm okay with how all of this is looking. But, I look at it just like this. It's one to learn. It's something to learn. It's something to grow. It's something to know. And we keep pushing. That's what this hobby does, man. If you can't find it in the stores, you can check online. Sometimes you can find good deals on Amazon, eBay, whatnot, Mercari. People are talking about their sales are low. Resellers are talking about, hey, we're not making as much money as we were making the last 2 months, let alone in the last 2 weeks. People are talking about their sales have dropped. And I noticed looking at some of my favorite YouTubers who are resellers, dude, I said, I noticed this was going to happen. Then I noticed a lot of people jumped out of certain genres and jumped into a whole nother thing as far as reselling because, one particular niche is too saturated. The video game market is too oversaturated, bro. Action figures, it's not that saturated. Everybody has a way of putting a spin on something, but when you're collecting and looking for stuff, and in your area, everything is all soaked up already, that's what it is. It runs dry, bro. So you find other things to do. You recalibrate, then you go from there. The thing that I noticed, even with the video games, I started noticing everybody want to open up video game stores, bro. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, man. With the way how the economy is working right now, you think opening a store is a good idea. I don't know. I see people opening up toy stores right now. People like, hey, look, I got to follow my dream. I don't know if I get another chance to try this. If it fails, it fails. If it don't, it don't. But the thing I'm looking at, man, and I'm being real. I'm being 100 with everybody who don't understand about me being 100. You have to sometimes rethink just everything. Sometimes you got to think from it with a clear mind, man. Sometimes we go into it, with our dreams and our hopes and our aspiration, man. But you know what? Going at it like that, you go broke. You got to be realistic. You got to figure who you trying to sell to, how much you think you're gonna make. Certain video game stores make good money, man. But they got so much overhead. If you can find a place where you can actually win at, far as like your rent, the salary for your employees and all of that stuff, man. It's like, yeah, that's a win right there. But think about it. What else? What are we gonna do with these empty shelves? Hey, you could always book a trip to China and buy all this stuff over there. Now I don't know how you don't get it all back, but not realistic, man. That's the thing that I look at. I'm enjoying it, dude. It's crazy though. But till later, fam. Peace out.